All right, Nate Eaton here backstage at CrimeCon talking with Meaghan Good. She is the woman behind the Charley Project. Meaghan, what is the Charley Project?
It is the largest privately run missing persons cold case database on the internet.
Wow, how many people in there? Any idea?
14,600 and something, I believe. I mean, like as of, when I left Indiana to come to CrimeCon.
How did you get started with this?
I knew a woman named Jennifer Mara who ran a missing persons website. We got to know each other because I was very interested in the topic as well, and I started sending her information to put up on there. And anyway, she retired from running the site because she had little kids and wanted to be a mom, and she gave it to me, and then I turned it into the Charley Project and have been running it since 2004.
Since 2004?
Yeah.
Any idea how many cases you've solved or helped solve?
Well, I know that there are at least like a dozen or so that I know about, and I have a feeling there are more that I don't know about, because I just found out, like while I was at CrimeCon, that there was a case that I helped solve that, I had no idea.
Wow.
Like some people wrote a news article about it saying, the Charley Project helped solve this case, and nobody told me.
Wow. This has got to be a full-time job.
It is.
How many hours a week do you spend on it?
A lot. I'm at work on it every day. I'm not just updating the website, but going through the social media and running by cases through the other databases to see if they're still listed, still current, or if an ordinary person gets found and they're found alive and they just left because they felt like leaving, there's usually not a news article about that. They usually just remove it from the database, and then I have to remove it too. And this all takes a lot of time.
You keep all the names straight?
Mm-hmm.
You got them all in your mind?
Yeah.
We were chatting before we started rolling, and I mentioned a missing 2-year-old, and she said DeOrr Kunz. You knew who I was talking about. So what's the ultimate goal in all of this?
I want to tell the story for each person as much as is known, and basically take all the information that's available about a case and put it together in one spot so researchers and investigators, journalists, podcasters, anyone who wants to know about a case, rather than having to track down 25 different sources which may or may not have information on this case, they can just go to me and it's all there.
Give me the name of the website.
CharleyProject.org, Charley with an L-E-Y. It's named after a child who was kidnapped in the 1870s for ransom. And at the time, it was enormously famous. It was like Lindbergh level famous. But they never solved the case. They never found the child, and it's kind of forgotten about today because it was so long ago.
Wow, all the way back to 1870.
Yeah, at the time, kidnapping for ransom was not a thing, and kidnapping generally wasn't a thing. It wasn't even a felony in the state of Pennsylvania where this happened, because it just was not something that occurred. It was kind of like how, these days drug dealing is a big deal, but, 150 years ago they didn't have drugs, per se. They didn't have things like PCP.
Did you get paid for all this?
I accept donations on a voluntary basis, but frankly, I don't make very much. We live off of my husband's teaching salary.
Oh my gosh, you're just doing this for passion and dedication? And
I feel like this was what I was supposed to do.
Good for you. First time at CrimeCon, or have you been before?
First time.
And what do you think?
This has been a wonderful experience. The people here are really cool, and it's very respectful. Because, there's multiple ways you can approach true crime, and sometimes it gets a bit ghoulish in kind of glamorizing the offenders. And like the whole thing about, Ted Bundy was so hot, I wish I could have known him, and you're not having that here.
Yeah, I will say it's really respectful. Everybody seems to be very respectful.
And, the whole focus is on the victims and telling their story.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much, Meaghan. I know you've got to get on stage. Go to the charleyproject.org for those 14,000 names, and hopefully there can be fewer and fewer names added to that website.
Hopefully someday these people will be found.